Being a radical leader in the women's suffrage movement was a prime factor for the 19th Amendment being implemented and the idea of disenfranchisement to be eliminated under the law. She was an important beneficiary for the progressivism movement and was a militant suffragette with more aggressive tactics for getting their message across, like picketing during World War I. Born in 1885 on January 11th in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, she was raised with Quaker parents who believed in gender equality, which influenced her throughout her life and would follow her in her career. She was a Hicksite Quaker who stressed separation from materialistic society and pushed to stay closer with nature. Her mother, T.C. Paul, was a member of the National American Woman Suffrage Association and would attend to meetings with Alice in town. This was a key factor that influenced Alice later in life. She had 3 siblings and they all attended a Hicksite school in Morristown. She also graduated first in her class in 1901. Alice and her siblings were forced to attend Swarthmore College in 1901 to be exposed to Quaker education for 1 year, but Alice decided to stay for 4 years in the coeducational school with a degree in biology in 1905. At Swarthmore, Alice was a commencement speaker on the executive board of student government. In 1907, she attended the New York School of Philanthropy with a Master's in Arts degree in sociology. In 1907 to 1910, she moved to England, which was the turning point of her life from being a kept to self-Quaker girl to a militant suffragist. She moved to England to study social work at Woodbrook Settlement. She met Emmeline Pankhurst randomly in a crowd, which introduced her to the Pankhurst suffragettes. These members used tactics of physical force like throwing rocks through windows to publicize their cause. This led to the woman being arrested for breaking public property. Alice believed that England was on the right path to get women's votes. She decided to carry their ideas back to the U.S. when she returned in 1910. She attended the University of Pennsylvania and joined the National American Women's Association for 2 years, which was the start of her career. During her time in Nassau, she was the head of the Congressional Committee who was in charge of working towards the suffrage amendment being passed. Alice Paul and her 2 other friends, Lucy Barnes and Crystal Eastman, thought that being more radical was a stronger movement for having a voice. The 3 of them traveled down to Washington, D.C. to organize a more Pankhurst-style suffrage movement. The 3 girls organized a massive parade of women to march up Pennsylvania Avenue on March 3, 1913. The march turned into an ugly scene of mainly male observers that provoked and attacked the marching women with vile comments and physical abuse, all while police watched. This march made headlines everywhere, and she co-founded the Congressional Union, which later was renamed the National Women's Party in 1916, and worked with Carrie Chapman Catt, even though their political strategies were clashed. Paul wanted to focus on the National Amendment to be passed and center off that idea. During this time, World War I was occurring, but Paul protested with picket signs in front of the White House anyway, and created silent sentinels to stand constantly outside the White House. Many people saw this as a touchy situation, saying these protests were unpatriotic, which led to angry mobs to attack the protesters. This led to policemen arresting the women for obstructing traffic, which then had to pay a fine or be jailed summarily. Jail time didn't stop these women. They persevered through hunger strikes in jail and had to be force-fed under Woodrow Wilson's establishment, which the public soon began to find out about. There were many strong debates over the force feeding, whether it was a medical procedure or not. When the public found out about the force feeding, this led to a higher demand for the women's release. Then, not long after, Woodrow Wilson passed the 19th Amendment through Congress and was ratified in 1920. The law states that all citizens are allowed to vote no matter what gender. This was a huge step forward for women and for progressivism.
Wonder what needs to be explained. It should be very clear. Look into your own heart. I swear to you, mine's no different. You want a place in the trades and professions where you can earn your bread. So do I. You want some means of self-expression, some way of satisfying your own personal ambitions. So do I. Want a voice in the government under which you live? So do I. What is there to explain?
Paul continued on her streak by proposing an Equal Rights Amendment to the Constitution, also known as the ERA. Not long after she had a stroke and died in 1977, even though she passed away, her influence for women's equality and rights lived on. Alice Paul had a huge impact on progressivism through establishing organizations that changed America's morals on women and equality forever.